Good day and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. I have a new bot for you, and it's not UP StarCraft AI 2016. That will be playing Zerg, and hello, what have we here? We see one probe mining and four already are scouting. So all the four initial probes went out on a mission to find the enemy. And oh dear, it looks like, yep, once it's found, all of them are coming back. So this is a Protoss clone of Stone, and oh dear, looks like there is no worker defense, so this is going to be quite painful, especially since the other ones will be arriving shortly. There goes the first drone, and there goes the second, and the third, and the fourth. And the last one, so that's that. By now we've got 2 probes mining, and when there will be money available, I'm sure they will be sent over. So there we go, UP StarCraft AI out of money, and Yuan Hangzhou is making this work. Okay, well, that's a bit silly, so I need... what do I need? I need another replay against a stronger opponent. Let's take Chasenguk. Okay, let me do this for 1 minute because... oh, and it's going to be some kind of a pylon following up in main base of the enemy. And looks like that's going to be a forge, so perhaps a pylon cannon follow-up. So now let's see what a continuation might be. We have got the workers making their way over, and I'm pretty sure that Chasenguk has got some kind of worker defense implemented. No, doesn't look like it, so that's quite silly, and on a 2-player map you're going to lose a lot of SCVs. So not too many games played, as you saw earlier, and as this isn't working... oh dear. More probes coming up. That's surely going to be a forge, and will we now get a cannon rush? But Chasenguk is trying to make this work somehow, has got gas up, but now there is a cannon too. So this basically is a probe, harass with a follow-up for... oh, and then the game walked out or something. I don't know. So probe harass into a cannon rush, that's an orthodox, but let's get this thing on the road. So what have we got more? Well, basically where we ended last week is that Iron beats pretty much anything except Eric Hammer. And Eric Hammer beats pretty much everything except Crazio, and that's the state of the game as it is. Perhaps something will be different, and perhaps we might show that today. Nice gas steal by Zer, and of course that will delay the initial build of Ximp somewhat. Then again, what have we here? We've got a 1 Bates Hydra play. What is that about? Let's see, because you can't let Ximp get on too long without putting any pressure on it. Oh, and here are the first Hydras. So is it going to be enough? I would say no, because there are quite a bit of cannons already. And I think, well, that is a bit of a delay in the build, so only 1 starport and no tech for carriers yet. And Zer's determined to do all of this on 1 base. And only now taking an expansion, that's pretty late, and I think that is going to hurt later on, but we'll see. Meanwhile, all of this on 1 pylon, all the cannons on 1 pylon, and this is going to be another cannon. Of course, these Hydras can never get in, or is this going to be some kind of an elevator with Hydras into the main? I don't know. The first 2 carriers are out. Here come the Hydras, and the timing is a bit off, because although they do quite well against cannons, the carriers are out too, and they can't really decide whom to attack. So it's going to be a massacre. Oh, too bad. And now the carriers are out, so we've got a handful of carriers versus a handful of neuters, and in a straight-up fight with a supply difference of about 200 or 60%, depending which side you look at it. it's going to be another massacre, because they're going for more and more Hydras. Ximp going for its third base, and it looks like it's going to be bloody, and pretty quickly too. Because 2-base Hydra versus the carrier bot Ximp is not going to be enough. Here come the carriers, and here is the return of the Hydras. The Hydras do an okay job versus the interceptors, as can be seen here. And that will mean that the carriers are slowly being driven back, although the carriers themselves are microing out of the harm's way. More are coming, of course, and the Hydras have now found a position where they can somewhat defend. So I don't think that the carriers can get much done here. Every time a single interceptor veers out to do damage, it will get killed immediately, but there will be 4 more carriers. And although a couple of Hydras die, by and large all the interceptors are dead, and now we've got 8 carriers here. Oh, and that's an explosion of interceptors, but the Hydras are holding strong, and that's the third base for Zerzer. So, point of defense has been established, namely here, and it's going to be a shootout between... Where's the next batch of carriers that's here, and why is there a Zealot? I thought I saw a Zealot crossing the map. That's unusual, but never you mind. It's a 2-base, next base taken by Ximp, and it's a bit of a standoff, so I don't know if interceptors are actually made. Doesn't look like it. Oh, here come a lot. But the Hydras are holding strong, and look at the massive Hydras. A couple of them die, but then again do a lot of interceptors. And I think because of the way the bases are being taken, namely in this direction for Zer and that direction for Ximp, that it's going to be an economic victory in the end for the carrier bot. Let me speed this up just a little bit, because hey, why not? And Ximp has got a lot of money, but there are so many interceptors being made, it can't get any money up for a new base, so perhaps that will be its downfall, as the third is getting low, the natural's out, and the Hydras are growing strong, and this petering out of single interceptors, occasionally you get a wave, but this massive Hydra is getting way out of control. Supply-wise, Zer's not doing too bad, and has found a way to take a base here, and now with an Arbiter 2, it's still the same thing. Ximp has got nearly max supply, but can't really get enough minerals off the ground to take another base. And as this base is out, and this base will mine out, perhaps Zer can after all take this, because it's got money here, and the third base is still operational, although heavily oversaturated. Ximp now wasting all of its money, and this base getting pretty low, oh dear oh dear. The question though is, how will Zer in the end deal with the enemy and taking out the enemy bases? Will it do so at all? As we can see, the income for Thomas Weider is stagnating and no new base is being taken. Same can be said for Zerzer, but Zerzer's got a lot of money, and although it's maxed, it can basically reproduce any Hydras that get killed by the occasional sortie of interceptors, and now this base is out. So that's pretty much the game. Oh, there is one mineral patch being mined from, apparently. And we've got a veritable forest of Hydras. And that's where I'm grateful for this OpenBW replay viewer, because I can just put this at 128 times the speed. Hey, where's that money coming from? Apparently there are still carriers with interceptors, but by now it's 175 versus 200 supply, and although Ximp's got a lot of gas, by now it can't really make a fist anymore. Zer's maxed mining out bases, could take another one, perhaps come into conflict with some of these cannons here. But no, it's just, oh look at that, it's just one big melee of Hydras, and all the drones at empty bases standing around doing nothing. And here goes another drone. It's going over to the cannon field. No, nothing to do there. Will it now take another path, or will it end here again? It looks like it. And yep, there it goes again. So got a bit of a standoff, and the Hydras can't get anything done. We've got some drones being transferred from A to B, and Oh, there we go. Finally, the carriers have been... Oh no, they are not going, they're coming back, all of them. And... 1024 times the speed. What will the Hydras do? Are there, and supposedly we could see that. There are still... Oh, there are no interceptors left, so it's only carriers. 7 observers, 1 arbiter, 3 goons, and 142 Hydras. Hello. Nothing going on at all. That's quite silly, and I don't think they're going to get anything done because they refuse to move out. It's 142 Hydras standing around here. The rest of it is in drones, and Zer's basically mined out because no mining's going on anymore. Not even gas, and Sim can win on gas. Okay, well. Screw this, not going to go in there anymore. Because there is more to show. Oh god, no. Didn't show you that. No. Shit. Sorry. Reload. Okay, so this game was sent to me by Martin, the author of Leaderbot, which he updated for the CIG 2017 tournament. And the opponent is Ironbot, and he wrote me a little story along with it, and I tried not to read it because he always likes to tell me what's going on in the replay, and generally if people send me a replay I just like to cast it and see what's happening. You can, and I haven't been trolled with boring stuff ever, so it's going to happen someday, but I like to have the freshness of casting the games myself, and if the technical side of things goes well, the sound is okay and the memory doesn't run out or whatever, I do all the games in one go and haven't seen them ever before. What we see here is of course the vulture of Ironbot making its way into Leaderbot's base. Now no expansion by either player, and it's going to be 2 gates with another 3 factories and the quicker starport for Ironbot. So it's going to be all about harass. And Leaderbot is in the base of Iron, and Iron is under pressure, so I don't know if this is going to work out for Lita, because Iron will have the defender's advantage, but it's certainly with a Wraith it doesn't really seem to be working. It's a nice try to put pressure on Ironbot, but in the long run you've also got to sustain it, and by now there is only small waves of 3 vultures coming in, and that's not going to be enough because the Wraith count is growing, and Wraiths are basically free damage versus vultures, so that's a foregone conclusion. Then again, we've got 3 vultures and almost 0 left for Iron, and Iron would be wise to pump a couple of Wraiths, maybe put up a bunker or claim the high ground. Now it's 2 Wraiths, but only 1 vulture, and I think that Leaderbot might well make this work, because the constant vulture pressure is coming off. 1 standing around here, I don't know why, and a Goliath too, but now 2 Wraiths, 3rd Wraith in production. Can't really see this work anymore, but perhaps I can't really imagine Martin sending me a replay like this to... Oh, there comes the Goliath, and Goliaths do pretty well against vultures and Wraiths, so perhaps this might be the answer to put pressure on Iron. Just build Goliaths and move them into the enemy base. Of course, 1 versus 4 vultures is not going to work at all. Oh, 1 gets caught, and the Goliath, oh well, look at it being strong. It's very strong, and the vultures don't really attack. The Wraiths aren't over the minerals, and more Goliaths are coming. We've got 2 now, and the vultures seem hesitant to attack into the Goliaths, and that's not good. Now we've got 3, and Leaderbot took a leaf of the Book of Iron and brought an SCV for repair. That's pretty well done, and now it's 4 Goliaths just walked over slowly. Of course, the Wraiths, where are the Wraiths? The Wraiths are here, but there is a Goliath here too. And the vultures, oh, and now the mines, look at the mines. Ooh, that got shot down. Ooh, 3 at once got killed. And all the mines dead. That's very unfortunate for Leaderbot. Then again, with good micro, this direct impact weaponry of the Goliath, ground to ground, is pretty good against spider mines. So I think that Leaderbot's actually done it, and I think this is a theme we're going to see more and more, or less rather, as iron is not the dominant factor it used to be. But everyone's looking to tailor builds to counter specific opponents, and I don't think that is going to work anymore in the future, or in the near future, or now at all. Because it looks like Leaderbot's got this one, the production is there, there is no natural yet, but the production is basically camped now. And can we see? Yep, we can see how this is. This is the ranking thing, and this are the latest updates. ELO rating, and Crazio is now on top, followed by Ironbot, followed by TSMU. Basically, all these top players have been playing against each other for watchers are voting them in. But Crazio now overall seems to have the highest level of play, and the ELO reflects that. Eric Hammer's doing well, but can't quite beat Crazio, perhaps. And Leaderbot is trying with a specific build order to counter Iron. Then again, there are so many other good bots like Crazio, like Eric Hammer. TSMU has been updated, all his 3 races are now new and improved, and once TSMU gets going, there's no predicting what will happen. And then there's McRave, there's Purple Wave, there's Microwave, BFT Joe, it's Oyvind is there as well, and it's just going to be so interesting to see how it's going to evolve, because the general level of play is increasing so much you can't really get off with a one-trick pony like Indecent Harassed like Iron, or with a counter build that Eric Hammer used to do against Iron. If you counter one enemy, there will be more enemies you can't face because of that, and Iron is suffering too because it was defending itself against Eric Hammer but then slipped up, and it's going to be unworkable because basically you've got about 10, 12, 15 bots which are good, and if you were to make specific counters to all of them, it would require such an awful lot of work, because every time you counter something, the author of the bot will counter the counter, and then you are where you started out, nowhere. So the onus on coders at the moment is to increase the general level of play. Notwithstanding, that is a pretty good victory of Leaderbot against good old Iron. And one of the things I have been neglecting somewhat is the mirror matchups, and I thought, well, I need to do something about that, and BFT Joe and Microwave are these bots which have been pushed along nicely, and as the replay size of this game was pretty big, I thought, well, why not, let's have a ZVZ, it can't all be awful, and perhaps we see something interesting. I should be doing a mirror matchup special soon. It's always interesting to see how you can do that in base hatchery and a quick-ish pool mirror build going on, and earlier gas by Microwave, no gas by BFT Joe. So that's going to be the difference for now. First links out for Microwave, and the links here at BFT Joe's will follow suit. It's got the gas taken, worker-wise BFT Joe's one up, and that might just be the one spent on this geyser, on this extractor. And where, oh god, they're chasing the scouting drone, that's silly. And that's one of the things I hope will come out. And now the links of Microwaves can make their way in. But this one scouting drone trick, which will never ever be cut off because reasons, is one of the things that I think should really be phased out of Brutal AI now, because this is so annoying. You just place 2 here, chase 2 from there, and do something with that. Trajectory prediction of enemy units is going to be a thing, really. And now Microwave's got the 100 gas. I think it's going for link speed. Yep, there it goes. Finished and 100 gas over. Presumably for a lair upgrade. And only now is BFT Joe taking the minerals, or the the gas and an expansion as well, because army-wise BFT Joe is ahead. The gas here being taken for link speed. If you're not going to do anything with your lings, it's going to be a loss, a net loss. And even if you've got the money, that's a free drone, that's very sloppy. You shouldn't really do that, because the sight range of a drone is okay. And as soon as the enemy is attacking, you should build these colonies. Oh god, where are... No! They are still chasing the stupid scouting drone and taking a lot of damage to the hatchery in the natural, now facing a concave. So although BFT Joe was ahead in supply by a bit, it took some losses there, and it's really bugging me out that that stupid scouting drone is causing so much destruction. Lair started now for microwave, but BFT Joe seems to be in control. Worker count is comparable. Army count's one ahead, and it really either, if you are ahead, push some drones, make a decision. But now it's a tug of war in the middle of the map with only Zerglings, and if you've got time to do things. And microwave made these mistakes. He took speed, and speed is now almost finishing for BFT Joe. Oh, the damage to the hatchery is not... oh, it's significant, but it's not too bad. And now both players are pumping drones, and the lair is started. The lair here started as well. Can we see that? If we... yeah, BFT Joe is lagging behind, and way behind, pushing more workers. Of course, it's anyone's game now, but I think that expansion may be important. Microwave going for the gas once again, and both players are so finicky with drones, which is mining where and when are you going to mine gas. These builds are really cleverly thought out. I'm going to speed it up to double the speed before anything interesting is going to happen again. And by now you can see Microwave's got the bigger army supply. It's got the bigger army supply, but where are the Lings? The Lings are all here, and they don't dare attack. One sunken. Now they're going for it. They are committed, and BFT Joe is fighting well. What is that about? Because supply-wise he's down, but then again the fights are taken better, and Microwave doesn't dare commit. Still no expansion, but the Spire is nearly done. The Spire is nearly done. Still the scouting drone, and here comes the Spire finally for BFT Joe. Will we see an evolution chamber to get some spores up? Because if you haven't got a spore and there is one muter, basically you are losing Lings at a frightening rate, and you've got to have more workers to catch up on. Oh, and the Lings get in! They kill 2 drones, and that's the game for sure, because even now they are backing out. You can't lose 2 Lings like that. It's now 4 drones like that. It's 4 drones in front, 4 Microwave, and the Spire is up. And here comes... no, there isn't a muter yet, but there will be soon. And there is no... oh, there is an Evo chamber. 2 spores, that's good, but would like to have one here. And still that stupid scouting drone is making things hard, because every once in a while these Lings here decide, well, we've got to do something about that, and then you get a backstab here, and you can't really put off 1 Ling here and lock it down. 1 there, 1 there, and 2 chasing it. That will be enough. But for now, BFT Joe still holding out the supply, but here come the muters. Here come the muters. There is no spore here. There are only spores over there, and the Spire is now finally finished for BFT Joe, but you can see half a supply behind. The supply is going to fall now, and I don't know why these muters can't really commit. They have been scared off. Oh, there they go. Scared off by... oh, that will need good micro to out-micro. But the muter count will be growing, and the supply count of... yeah, now they can out-micro the spores. Now they're going for the drones. That's a good decision, because the army supply of BFT Joes is bigger than that of Microwaves. But it's all in Lings, and Lings can't do anything. If you are at the moment like this, the Lings can't do anything. They decide, well, let's scout. Let's track that scout some more, but it's not going to work. If you've got a situation like that, you move over, you put pressure on here, try to do a run by, kill the drones, do any kind of damage, and oh, that's a nice third. Oh god, this is actually pretty good. You'd like to have 1 spore here. Muter gets stabbed, and there is 1 muter for BFT Joe, but the drone count is too low. It's way too low. The muters are prioritizing drones, and they're doing rightly so. And BFT Microwave now carves out BFT Joe, because BFT Joe wants to mine gas here, and it doesn't really realize that that zone is unsafe, and it's succeeding in transferring drones, but all the drones will be killed, and by now the air army of Microwave is superior. Supply-wise still down, but all the Lings here aren't doing anything, and now they're making their way over, trying to defend against the Mutas, but the Muta count is getting bigger and bigger. Drones here finally, but I think the damage has been done. Finally expansion taken by Microwave, and this is a pretty good ZVZ. I'm really looking forward to more mirror matchups, because of course if you got a good TVT going, you know how it's going to pan out, and now the Mutas are sufficient in strength to take down these two spores, and I think that a little bit more work is needed on ZVZ to cover your bases with spores strategically. The decision was good. If you are behind in technology, build an Evo chamber, build a couple of spores, you can prop up your economy and do things that way. BFT Joe is keeping himself into the game now, trying to rebuild, but I doubt that is going to work, and if the larvae have been killed, here comes the invincible army of Microwave. That's the GG. Microwave with a very good game, and BFT Joe for the same. Have you got more mirrors? No, I haven't got any more mirrors. So now back to the interesting stuff, and I promised myself I wasn't going to do too many top bots, but oh, what the hell, it's just where the development is at the moment, and where the action is, and where the good games probably may be. So I took permission from myself, I got permission to do a game of Eric Hammer versus Whopper, Surenklet. Eric Hammer, of course, has been killing Iron left and right, and all the time Iron hasn't really found an answer to that yet. And Surenklet is a less harassing, more defensive Terran, and as Eric Hammer can't really kill Crazio at the moment, I thought, well, let's take another well-defending Terran and put him against Eric Hammer, and I took a replay for that. So here we go, same opening as versus Iron, a couple of Hydras and an expansion. Okay, moving over with 4, that's ballsy, taking the in-base mineral only, and that is a lot of spores. That's 3 drones, and of course you've got a lot of drones, but that's a lot of money wasted basically. And Surenklet going for the expansion with a couple of tanks. These puny numbers of Hydras aren't going to do anything, and that is really, that's 150, 225, 375, and that's 512 money wasted, not even counting the money lost by these drones not mining or doing something useful. As you can see, Whopper isn't really going to move out, and these tanks shut everything down, with a couple of mines. Minimal damage to Vultures, no repair, and there you can see that Whopper is one of the more old-fashioned Terrans without constant repair. But Eric Hammer behind all this has droned up even a little bit more and taken another base. So it's 4, 5, 6 bases out, and that's a good evaluation, because Whopper doesn't look like it's going to move out anytime soon, and although there are going to be a lot of tanks by the time the next wave of attackers is going to be there, I think that it's going to be a huge economic advantage for Eric Hammer. Now 33 versus 40 workers, worker count relatively low, but then again, once all these bases start kicking in and producing drones, that's going to rise the number of workers. Now 35, 43, and Whopper still pushing workers. That's really counting on taking another base soon, looks like. More tanks being built, and you're going to need a lot of Hydras to get anything done here. Muta, of course, can't do much against Goliaths and Vultures, and even, well, against Vultures sure, but against Goliaths, not really going to work. Wraith with Cloak, okay, but by now there are drones mining all over the place with a 1 defensive structure at all of them. And Eric Hammer's army is puny, it's only 17, and Whopper is just doing massive, massive damage. 54 workers and still building them, that's really something. Might be looking to expand more, but it can't really get out. And the Overlord's gone, so this Wraith was doing well. With the tanks and the Goliaths, Whopper is doing okay in the defensive department. Problem is, all these bases are getting better and better saturated. Tech is going to be built, and although the army is rather small for Eric Hammer, and Whopper is inching forward on the map, it's got 60 workers of 2 bases. The Mutas can't really get in, can they? There are some Goliaths, and the Goliath production is rather low. And Eric Hammer at this point, with almost equal the amount of workers, can just decide, well, what's it going to do? Is it going for a ground attack or an air attack? And the neuter count is going to rise. A couple of Goliaths can't really get too much done. There are more being built, but Eric Hammer's just got the money at this point. Every Goliath venturing out will be sniped by the neuters or taken down by the Hydras. And now the neuters are in among the siege tanks. Of course, there is a bunker. Oh, and a battlecruiser. Oh, hello. That might be interesting, because the battlecruiser is going to do a lot of damage versus these neuters, together with a couple of Goliaths. But the grouping of whoppers is not good enough at the moment. All the bases have now been saturated. 73 workers for Eric Hammer, lots of tech, and the question is, will we get any kind of ultra switch or defilers or God knows what? Another base being taken, another base. Oh no, that's not it. I thought it was going to take that base, but apparently not. And the neuters are just too strong at this point. The army of Surenklet's Whopper is puny. It's only 24. The neuters have done this. And what is that overlord? What are these overlords doing? Are they trying to take that base? Because if they were, that would be really awesome. By now this bunker has had so many kills, but there can only be about 2 Marines in there or something. Yeah, there we go, 2 Marines in the bunker, and there is just a shade on the ground of all the neuters that are killing stuff left and right. Now, this is over. We'll not get to see the technology that Eric Hammer is going to build. And are these scouting overlords, or is Eric Hammer cooking up something to take that base, taking more harvesting opportunities all across the map? And although there is a battlecruiser, there are just too many neuters. And although the neuters seem to bug out on the battlecruiser, I don't know what that's about. They are not attacking it, and the battlecruiser is getting some kills in, giving Whopper the chance to stabilize. I don't know what that's about. And perhaps if you can get out another couple of... Oh, that was one volley and another volley on the battlecruiser. And the battlecruiser is in the propinquity of going down, and there it goes. And now it's all over the Terran. No tech yet, only the Queen's Nest, and units. More Hydras coming, switching back to Hydra. Whopper took a 3rd base, but as it's undefended, the return on investment is pretty negative at the moment. And the neuters are all over this, as I said before. More bases being taken, all the map is turning brown. And it's a good thing that these bots aren't playing StarCraft 2, because with all these creep spreading queens, it would now be an exponential creep spreading affair across the map. And that is the game. Main's mined out, natural's gone, 3rd looks like this. Doesn't do anyone much good anymore. Now we get some tech. I think this is going to be an Ultra Cavern or a Greater Spire, but it's basically too late, and Eric Hammer has taken this game in style. Ooh, Infested Terran 2. It's flipping out a bit. It can't really find a satisfying target. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so that's the game. And Eric Hammer is quite deadly, it seems. Let's put him up against the Protoss. Hello, Protoss. We've got bwapi. bwapi popped on the scene right before last year's tournament, and it did pretty well. Out of the blue, came in and, well, didn't really Bini Vidi Vicky, but it came a long way, and it was pretty good, so interesting to see how it's going to throw up against old Eric Hammer. Eric Hammer going for the usual. Couple of hatches and a pool, then some units to just take a little bit of map control. Zealots heading back to base, and by now there is only 1 gateway, 2 more being built, but there's going to be a little bit of defending, and bwapi can praise itself for its luck that, oh dear, that's... Will they turn back to... yeah, they will turn back to defend against these Zerglings. That's good. Oh, and look at the surrounding micro by these Zerglings. That's absolutely stellar. And there is only 1 Zealot left. Oh, the surround, getting a hit in, moving, taking another clip. And that's pretty good. Of course, there is only 5 Zerglings, and there are a lot of workers. There is 1-2 gateways, couple of probes are going to go down, but it's not going to be a decisive victory for Zerg. The 3 remaining links getting low, moving back. A couple more coming, but not really getting too much done. Not a concluding victory. And it's all going to be down to what tech path will bwapi take, what kind of magic will it produce, because it's got a starport, it's got Reaver tech as well. These zealots are really doing a good job of keeping Zerg at bay for the moment. Hammer not really capitalizing on its map dominance. Oh, and we've got the first Corsair out. It's going to hunt for overlords, I am sure. And now bwapi's going to do a little bit of containing action himself, but there are mutas out, and mutas versus Corsairs are okay. Look at the spreading. It's again, it's like the Zerglings. These surrounding measures by Hammers are really okay. Really good. Nice to see. And of a 2-base versus Protoss, bwapi availing himself of the time off on the home front to take another base. Now with a Reaver, couple of goons, and this Muta Cloud is okay, but with a couple of Corsairs and a couple of goons you come a long way against them. Then again, there are only a couple of goons, 3 of them, and a lot of mutas. That is not going to be a pretty fight. We've got 4 goons now, but not in a position where they are going to, oh dear, oh dear, they're going to be all over, and they're going for the pylon, they should be going for workers. But now for the cannon and 4 goons, going to do okay, but the mutant numbers are just too strong. Now it's only 3 goons, and it's like a countdown rhyme, taking down the shuttle, taking down another goon, and with the cannon perhaps bwapi might hold. As you can see on the minimap, oh, this is destruction in progress, but 3rd base now being taken by Hammer, and although there are a couple of zealots, the link train is on the move as well. And of course, oh, there used to be a Reaver. Where is the Reaver? Is it out in a shuttle? The Reaver's out in the middle of the map, so the Lings are in a bit of a squandary. But without a shuttle, a Reaver can only do so much. Turn around and fire, my boy. Yep, there we go. And although the, the Zealots don't do anything, and the Mutas have backed off. They have backed off, I don't know why. There are no goons, there are only a couple of cannons, and they're quite well placed, but you could take one out without getting hit by the other, and I think that is going to be another step in the evolution of Muta Micro, Muta decision making, map analysis, how were you to engage a turret field or a cannon field where you can take turrets one by one. bwapi doing okay, 33 workers, and there is a little bit of an army advancing upon its natural. Not here, not there, but on the natural. It's got a couple of sunkens. It is okay. The Reaver is in the middle of the map, exposed. If the mutas were to find it, it would be messy. And of course, Hammer has been turning the macro switch, and bwapi really ought to do something quickly before time's running out. 1 sunken taken down, but by now the Lings and the mutas have sort of returned. Other mutas going to return as well. Now would be the time to take a 3rd, perhaps, but the army count of bwapi is pretty low. You'd like to have that a lot higher. Here goes the Reaver. It doesn't look to be enjoying itself very much. Not long for this world. There it goes. And the army of bwapi is absolutely puny, especially if you take into account the high supply count of individual units and what is still in production. It's only a handful of zealots, couple of turrets, and a lot of buildings, but not a lot of army. So production-wise, I don't think bwapi is having the best of its days. The mutas are in the main again, but with the cannons and the goons, they are doing an okay job, and the mutas see no other way to but to back off, and only having done some superficial damage to non-critical structures. That's going to be okay for bwapi. Another base being taken by Hammer, and bwapi is just under a lot of pressure, but here is a High Templar. And if it's going to let loose a good couple of storms, perhaps if you now take a 3rd, you might be okay. And still no one interested in these island bases. Just drop a drone, harvest this, build a base, and there you go. Workers being transferred. Hive tech now done. And Eric Hammer's just gathering steam, but bwapi is fighting well, fighting the good fight. And these High Templars are gathering energy, so these muters, they can't really make a fist anymore because the goon numbers are too great, and I'd really like to see these High Templars move into battle and not all over the map, because it's so dangerous if you get sniped sometime. Oh, it's never a good feeling, but if you're a High Templar, you need to be enclosed by your friends and dish out occasional ghosts who storm once in a while. bwapi taking a third, a good decision, because the main's getting low and the army is growing. Eric Hammer is on a very, very low army supply. What could it be doing? It's only 16 versus 53, and there is a nice... Oh, the first storm misses completely, but the muters are getting so low, and the goons now can pick them off one at a time. Have we got more storms left? Doesn't look like it. But the muter threat is gone, basically. One drone is going to escape, and although there is a lot of economy, the army supply is gone. The natural gets broken. Eric Hammer, under a lot of pressure, frantically trying to rebuild units. What is it building right now? It's building muters, and muters are okay, but they are not a main battle unit against Protoss with Storm and Goons. That's not going to work at all. Although they are doing okay versus the Goons, that's a nice Storm doing a lot of damage. The Goons look like they are going to go down. Now Corsairs, that's a really scrappy fight. And I like how these bots can make decisions of when to attack, how to attack, to commit. But Eric Hammer is bringing this back. Storm sniffs another muter. And another good storm. The muters keep walking, flying to and fro, in and out of the storm. By now, bwapi's army is gone, and it's still putting pressure on the middle of the map. Shouldn't really be doing that, because although its third is up, the main is out, and it's got a really puny army, and by now Eric Hammer is all over this. There is a huge muter cloud, and there is basically no anti-air, because all the supply of the army is in Zealots. And I saw one Corsair, a couple of High Templars, and a Reaver. But by now, ooh, these muters are pretty low, so one good storm will clip a lot of health of the flock. And they don't really dare get into contact with these High Templars. Oh, that's so sloppy. You know, you catch a muter, you do some damage to a couple of others, but you just got to protect your Templars better. Eric Hammer, undeterred, just pressing D for macro, building a lot of drones. And although bwapi's army is okay, it's even bigger than Eric Hammer's, in the long run it's not going to be sustainable, because the natural's going to run out, and where is bwapi going to take a third? Not here, not there, could be here, but Eric Hammer basically has got this base, so you cut off the enemy expansion into that direction, and bwapi is now trying to make something work again. But it's got so preciously little anti-air, it's not even worth venturing out at the moment. Cannons are increasing, lots and lots of buildings, and that's really a flaw, because bwapi can't really produce enough. Its army is puny compared to all the infrastructure it's got, and although Eric Hammer's losing a lot of lings, this base is not being raided by these zealots, it's being defended by muters, and now the muters are in this cannon fortification, all dying, so could something be said to make Eric Hammer a little bit less wasteful? Yes, it could, but then again, the eco advantage is just too great. It's 75 versus 56 workers. The natural is still there for bwapi, but by now the Zerg army is getting big enough. Oh, nice couple of storms, but there is just too much Zerg across the map, and although a tremendous number of muters are dying because for some reason Eric Hammer thinks muters can be used in pitched battle against goons and Archons, which of course it's possible, but it's not the most efficient. Oh, and the third is being raided. The third is being raided. If this goes down, bwapi will be out. And Eric Hammer has taken all the bases, save one, and the island maps, of course. Tech all across the map. We've got defilers, or at least the option. We've got the option of ultras. We've got, is there a greater spire? Oh, that storm completely misses. There isn't a greater spire yet, but the overlords are there. Eric Hammer just building supply, now building only combat units and attacking, and it's not the most efficient attacker, but it's just doing so much to contain the enemy. The third is gone, the natural is nearly out. No, that's just an observer. So Eric Hammer now ploughing into the enemy, attacking Archons with Mutas, attacking Archons with Zerglings. In the end, the Archon will fall. The storms will not be enough, and this is a good day to die. Eric Hammer not really decisive, not really with the correct army composition, but macro-wise, it's such a monster. If you let it off the hook, it's going to murder you, as is happening here. Couple of Templars are trying to take up. Oh, and that is a nice number of storm. All the Mutas are dying. That's really something. But then again, you've got no mining going on at all. And we've got 76 drones mining, producing for victory. And Eric Hammer has just got too much stuff. Going to call the GG for Eric Hammer. And then I thought, well, let's get another good TVZ going. It's Iron versus TSMU Zerg. And I'm now going to speed up the initial stages of the game, because these bots tend to play long, drawn-out macro games. And if you do that, you need to make choices what you're going to show. So, yeah, there we go. A couple of Lings out chasing an SCV, TSMU with a couple of, well, interestingly placed Sunkens, and trying not to be contained by these vultures, but with only Lings it's not really succeeding at this point. Iron on only one base. Worker-wise, TSMU is really doing well with an equal worker count, and where are the vultures? The vultures are in the rear. That's unusual and characteristic, because there are only Lings out, and TSMU at this moment is not doing anything else to put pressure on Iron. The vultures have now got the base sort of contained, but with the Mutas, vultures have lost their role. Iron, of course, going for a couple of turrets along with an expansion, and will be looking to build an armory as well to put some Goliaths into this mixture. That might be, yep, there it goes. That's the armory. TSMU being a little bit slow, I think, with the third. Not really worth it, and all the Mutas are not spreading out, but they are chasing vultures one at a time. That's not really how it's supposed to be done, but then again, the vulture weapon is running out. We saw earlier Litterbot taking out Iron with a couple of Goliaths. Oh, these vultures are so quick with the speed upgrade. They can even outrun Mutas, and the Mutas are okay in fending off vultures, but they can't really kill them. And Iron is really setting up shop, taking defending lessons. No tanks yet, and here comes the first Goliath onto the field. TSMU very slow with the macro, and although I like its decision making, its movement, its decision making, I said that twice, it is a rather a little bit slow on the macro, and Iron is just defending, taking its time. No bases taken. Yep, we've got a mine there, and I thought TSMU could do something with that. Obviously not. That's a problem, because by now all the bases are mined by... oh, this one hasn't. So TSMU taking a base right across the map, and the mutant numbers are staggering at this point. TSMU's got 38 army supply, and I wouldn't be surprised if that were 90 mutas. So Iron really can't go anywhere, and the couple of mutas which are in the game still are being chased. TSMU now taking a third, no fourth yet, and the muta weapon is all over this. Iron is sort of contained, and that's good, because Iron needs to learn and defend as well. It's trying to take a third, but these SCVs are not really in a safe zone, and TSMU's only got 2 bases, so for now, okay, here comes the fourth. Third is up, not saturated yet. And Iron really needs to formulate an answer to these mutas. It's still making a lot of vultures, now coming in with more and more Goliaths, but the Goliaths don't really dare make a fist. And TSMU, oh, look at these mutant numbers. It's 45 meters, that's supply, that's 27, 28 meters. And TSMU's transferring drones right across the map, taking all kinds of bases everywhere. Perhaps it's found a way to clear up some of the mines. It's interesting, and just making muta after muta. Iron sitting behind its walls, it's quite impregnable because mutas do pretty well against Goliaths do pretty well against mutas, and with the turrets and a couple of marines, Iron is in an okay position. But if you let TSMU run away with the map like that, I can assure you it won't do your health any good in the long run. And TSMU just playing this beautifully, putting pressure on Iron, building a lot of extra hatcheries. No over-teching, no over-producing buildings, but look at the amount of hatcheries, that's insane. And it's now 62, it's 30 mutas. And also like how TSMU is hardly losing a muta at all. First tank of Iron, and Iron could now perhaps move out with a small muta train. Doing a little bit of damage would be required at this point, because TSMU is running away with the map. This base saturated, that base saturated. More bases are bound to be taken soon because there are drones roaming all across the map. It's just one big line of drones, and that is it going to be a hive? Looks like it's going to be a hive. And now Iron is pushing out. Iron is pushing out, but the mutas can't get it done. They don't dare attack into these Goliaths. Oh, now they can, and it's only a handful of Goliaths, but with the range of raid, how strong are they? And now with the Queen, oh god, TSMU, you had this game, but now you need an army. The army count's pretty low, and it's all in mutas, so if the enemy's going to go pure Goliath, you are going to need more than mutas to face it. And now with the tank, Iron is trying to put a little bit of pressure on TSMU. It's succeeding for the time being, because all the mutas are in the rear doing the prevention of the third base of Iron thing. And Iron can then... oh, look at it. No. The Lings catch... oh, they should have committed to killing that tank. Because now TSMU is switching to Hydras. What kind of funny thing is that? And the mutas are all here, so that's not really good. The mutas, of course, are quite good at containing, at harassing, but if you are going to use them as a main combat unit, you need to commit them to fight. And TSMU still a little bit, or still, as always, is very hesitant to fight. Now the Hydras are coming off, but with the tanks and the Goliaths and the SCVs, they are basically thrown away, and the mutas are not are doing damage. And with a map versus 2-base situation, they're doing okay, but I'd say they're flopping about too much, and they now are chewing through all these Goliaths. Of course, the production of Iron of only 2 bases isn't that staggering, but TSMU is going to lose this base, I think, and these overlords should evacuate. TSMU doing all kinds of flippant things once again, but really hasn't got the army. And if you've got a composition of a couple of Goliaths into your base like that, you just need to commit a couple of Zerglings, throw them away, bring the mutas back, clear it up for your own ease of mind, and to sleep happily ever after. Here come the mutas, but they are so flappishly and so inefficient at killing Goliaths. Now they find one here and one there, and they try to distribute damage evenly between them. This one's nearly dead, one shot would do it in. And now they are moving off, leaving this army here. What was the general idea? Why are you going to fight here? It's not really worth it. This base has been stopped for the time being, and TSMU is, well, on a lot of workers, but I still don't really like how it is committing to fight, and of course doing damage with the mutas, but the mutas are mainly engaged in flying about too much, not really getting anything done, and still your natural here is sort of contained, because you've got a tank, and a couple of SCVs, a Goliath, and this should be morphed, this should be cleared up. TSMU has got a lot of money. What's going on? Is it building army? It's not building army anymore. TSMU has stalled somehow. Same goes for Iron. Oh no. Oh no, the game's gone corrupt. The game's gone corrupt, that's not good. TSMU's dying, Iron is dying, the game has keeled over. Oh dear. Okay, well, let me try this once more. And okay, we'll try not to look at the minimap too much, because although I can switch the game to a specific point, I've got this bar to pull it around, and that is where we were. But it looks like both players have grown catatonic, and it's just going to be minerals being mined and the game running out. Oh, that's very sad. Perhaps I should do it in game. Perhaps the game was going on too long. I don't know. Okay. God. Okay, well that was a bit of a flashy start. We've got McRae versus TSMU Terran, and hopefully this game won't bug out on us like the last game did, because the last game was really interesting. And now we've got McRae with 2 goons out on the field, but against a tank and a couple of goons, you're not getting too much done. Tank should be repaired, is actually being repaired, but it's flipping about too much. And that's one of the things that is that are hard for AIs to just sit still. Every unit and every unit has got its mind of its own, and it's a bit of a primitive mind. But units just can't sit still, and all these tanks are moving 1 centimeter to the left, 2 to the right, and all back again, and they're not really getting anything done. And that's very uneasy to watch. And TSMU suffering the loss. No, the tank lives. The tank lives with a sliver of HP left. McRae going for the early gateway pressure we know so well, and no repair for this tank coming in, no third being taken, and the units are flapping about here doing God knows what. And now the tank dies with 1 shot of that goon. And that is just something I don't really understand why it's happening. McRae is going to come to grips with this tank, but a couple of vultures screen it off. And the tank is doing so well, the goons can't get in. TSMU taking a third, and McRae, although the pressure is okay... Oh, the tank is exposed now. What are these stupid marines doing? TSMU is being driven back, and mainly because its units rather refuse to fight. And if you do fight, you don't siege up versus zealots, but with the vultures and the mines, I think it clears. 1 tank here in a good position, defensive position. Third is a little bit exposed, that's unfortunate. But McRae really bringing on the pressure, but against all these tanks you can't do that. And TSMU, oh dear. Now got 2 tanks, this one looks to be deadish. And McRae is making this work. Third being taken, TSMU's third is up, but TSMU isn't... Versus these new bots, it's hard to keep your stuff together, because you like to pressure them. If you pressure them, you get pressured in return, and if you lose the grip of the game, then you get swarmed, and if you get swarmed, things like this happen. And of course these tanks in the rear do tremendous damage, with all your workers are going down, and your natural command center is getting hurt. And these goons take down another tank. The micro of these goons is pretty impressive for McRae, now with 3 bases up, a couple of cannons at each of them. Oh, not in the main apparently, and with an arbiter, so that's pretty good. And still McRae is fighting in the natural among the workers of TSMU, and although the third is up and populated, it's just an economic loss for TSMU. Only 40 versus 100 supply, worker count's pretty low, only 8 army supply, and yes, there is a tank in there, but by now McRae is putting all the stops, taking a 4th, and where's the arbiter? I thought I swore I'd seen an arbiter. Where is it? And TSMU's army is gone. So McRae taking this in style, ignoring the third for the time being. I don't know what that's about. But the main is being attacked, and TSMU with the rallies trying to bring it back. Couple of mines. Mines of TSMU are really pro, but now an arbiter arrives on the scene, and McRae's 4th is nearly done. Supply-wise, Protoss nearly doubling the Terran, and not even the mines can help at this point, because the goons are just stutter stepping so beautifully they can't take down any kind of mines. Oh, that was a recall, but there wasn't an Arbiter in a logical position. So if you recall on the same spot where you are, you're not actually doing anything. But I think that's a good sign that McGrave is trying to do recall. And the third is still up and running. That's crazy. A couple of mines at the bridge. Work is being built, but the main is going to fall. And Protoss now with High Templar and an Arbiter. Another base, and that's another Arbiter. It's trying to cloak that bunch of units. And just more production. McGrave, as the macro player, it is taking down the third. All the SCVs chasing a High Templar, but it's not going to work. Main base out. So that's the GG. McGrave takes down TCMU. And oh, the last match for today but one. I took Purple Wave because Ironfist Jadin has been working, and it's interesting to see how it will play on a small two-player map versus Zerg, one of the more aggressive Zergs, and taking a scouting drone all across the map. And of course there is only one place to go on a two-player map, so the enemy will be found at the first sight, at the first try. And oh god, here goes the gas steal again. And then pool. And at Protoss end of things, it's going to be Forge with 2 cannons, which I think is a good decision. Will they? Yeah, versus things you can probably, if you attack here, you get some coverage, and with 1 more cannon. Looks to be okay. Couple of Sunkens, and that is not really aggressive. And an in-base hatchery, and that is going to be a Hydra Den, I don't know. Purple Wave with the earlier expansion than Zerg, that's curious. More cannons and gas as well. So Hydra play, 3 Hydras, 4 Hydras, and moving out. No natural yet, so that's very, very late for Zerg not to have natural by this time. 5 cannons, 1 Zealot, and what tech will we have more? We'll have Goons. And oh, just took the gas here and left the extractor be there. Good decision-ish. Handful of Hydras, 2 Zealots, and you're never going to get through these cannons with the bridges defending them as well. More Hydras coming off, so that might be... that actually might work. The question is, will more cannons be built, or what other units will Protoss consider proper to bring into this game? The Zealots, of course, can't hold on versus the Hydras, and they die. Oh, that's wasted. They should be fighting in alignment with the cannons. And now the Hydras are coming in, but the cannons, there are just too much cannons. 1 cannon dies, and a lot of Hydras, and the rest are very, very low. So at the price of... well, the Zealots died in vain, but at the price of a couple of Zealots and 1 cannon, Purple Wave for the time being holds. Zerg going for nothing but Hydras of 1 base, and I can't really agree with that. I can't really agree with that. Purple Wave is a little bit gas-starved. Apparently it doesn't really know how to deal with this extractor here. More Hydras being... oh well, good. Oh, and finally the expansion for Triple Zer. Again, Zealots coming onto the field, and Zer being happy containing the enemy at this point. With the Corsair, first some map control and perhaps some scouting information. And I really wonder why this extractor is still there. It must be in view of... and that drone. Is this going to be a cannon? I hope it is, because otherwise Purple Wave might suffer an ignoble defeat. The natural full Zerg is very, very low, and these Zealots versus all these Hydras, you can't really do that, can you? Couple of Hydras coming off to help him defend against this Corsair. The Zealots do try something, but it's not really all that effective. Perhaps they need to protect this Overlord as well, but the Corsair doesn't really seem interested in the Overlord, and the Hydras doesn't seem interested in the Corsair. Nope, that was a pylon, so the Extractor's still there. And that's a fleet beacon. This is going to be a 1 base, 1 starport carrier thing, as an imitation of Ximp. By now the Hydra numbers are bigger, and the Zealots are all being thrown away. The cannons have not been rebuilt, and the cannons are in danger of being run down, of being busted. And if this is going to be a carrier build, oh, here come the Hydras, and 1 more cannon goes down. The Zealots come right on time as a wave of rallies. They can fight in tandem with the cannons. And we've got one carrier with one interceptor pursuing the Hydras, and that's really something. Zer going for, and I don't know what this Corsair is doing. It's being shot at and spat at by these Hydras. It's a very scrappy game. Purple Wave with a lot of over minerals, but hasn't really got the gas and is not doing anything at all about this extractor. Not taking the third base either, not rebuilding cannons. I think his build order is getting way out of whack because of that one extractor being built there. And this carrier dying, oh dear, in the middle of the field without anything to show. That's unfortunate. Zer just putting everything into mute in the Hydras and putting pressure on Protoss. Okay, finally going for some Overlords. That's good. Always a good choice, because Overlords are basically sitting ducks. If you... oh, and over the cliffs as well. That's pretty pro. And the Zealots are chasing back the Hydras. Supply-wise, Purple Wave doing okay. It's got a lot of money for Zealots. I think that's a good decision, but it should really be taking a third base. Third base with a gas, I might add. And where's the Corsair? Corsair's here. This Corsair is not attacking, and the Corsair we saw here earlier, that was. Oh, and this one here as well. So this Overlord isn't very safe either. Nice defensive position by Zer. Same goes for Purple Wave. The extractor is still there in this day and age. And the third or fourth base being taken, this time with another geyser, so perhaps Protoss may be able to do this. The Zealots are moving in, and the one carrier is there as well, and taken down. The Zealots have to move out. That's 2 Sunkens, that's a nice bit of firepower. And Protoss being beaten back. Zer very, very late with the expansion. For now, the main and the natural are mining out for Purple Wave, so it was really time that it took those bases. And it really needs gas too, but Zer's only doing Hydras, and of 2 bases, 2 base Hydra versus a 4 base Protoss is not really the thing to do. Oh god, only minerals being mined here, no assimilator on the geyser, that's unfortunate. And Purple Wave, oh, I don't know if it's... I think it's pretty hard to build a check if your income is balanced, and mainly it's just, well, take this base here, take the geyser, and no check if the geyser isn't being taken, why that isn't happening, or what should be done about that. And finally the extractor taken here, another base there, so I think Purple Wave is going to run away with this, due also to the fact that Zer isn't really getting another base anymore. There is just this Protoss gateway blob outside, and with only Hydras it's not really going to work. And although the gateway blob isn't really up to running into this fortified position with all the Hydras and the Sunkens, oh, they're doing a lot of damage but not really succeeding. The Hydras are moving out, doing pretty well, I must say. But these bases now, with the extra gas income for Protoss and all the mineral income from the mineral only, from the natural, from the main probes being transferred, this Hydra train is really Zer's last hurrah, because if the Hydra train dies, it can't replenish an army anymore. And although Purple Wave's only got 52 army supply versus 35, and the Hydras are very adept at fighting small numbers of goons and any number of zealots, I think in the long run, if they die, they're going to be contained. These units will now fight, probably. The Hydra cloud is getting smaller and smaller. Reinforcements are coming up, perhaps if Zer can take down this base, but by now the goons are committed to fight, and the army supply of Purple Wave is dropping like a stone. It's only 24, and this third base is undefended, and it's got the gas. It's got the gas, and all eco is here and there, and it's only the third base with that one. Zer only on the natural, but the Hydra cloud is still there, and well, the defenses of the natural are in place. But if your third mine's out, and if your gas is getting low here too, as a Protoss, what can you do? Zealots can't do anything anymore, and I think that if Zer won't be going for the defense, oh, don't do it. If it would be going for the third or the fourth, it would get much more done. Look at all these cannons being built, because Purple Wave, for some reason, refusing to build units. Now, 2 starports, and the Hydra cloud is getting bigger and bigger, the herd, the wave, the horde. And it's sitting there, and the question is, what is it going to do? Is it going to go for the natural? It could bust the natural easily, and then take out the main. That would be good. Purple Wave hasn't got the economy and the production to produce units, and also it could do with one High Templar. One High Templar would be so much better versus these Hydras than the constant simmerings of Zealots and Goons and the occasional carrier without more than 2 interceptors. It's not going to work, and probes of course also don't fight very well. So Zer is still in this. Going to speed it up just a notch. A couple of Overlords being killed, that's always good. But the Hydra Cloud is taking up position, and it is growing. It's 46 versus 6 army supply, and what will it do? It tears into the natural now. The cannons are going to go down. There is no army whatever. Got a couple of Zealots and the occasional carrier, which isn't supported or microed pretty well. Zer not taking any other base, and that's really a major fall. But the Hydras are in the main, and of course, oh, there is a cannon. Finally, there is a cannon, but it's way too late. By now, there are 50 angry Hydras in your base, and although the cannon is killing a couple of them, the last carrier is going to go down, and the Hydras are all over this. The third is mining, the fourth is mining, the mineral only is mined out, but the Hydras are all over this, and oh god, a cannon field. And Zer still not with another base, and I don't know what that's about, but Zer really fighting this tooth and nail. And now going, the Hydra Cloud can't really make up its mind, taking down the carriers again, and now the cannons again. Again, the main is carved out like a hollow pumpkin. It lives. Astoundingly, it lives. The Hydra Cloud is on the move, 70 of them, and there is only one Protoss base left. One Protoss base left, and it's going to be engaged. Zer doing this, and finally now taking another base, but Zer taking this in style. I'm going to call the GG and move into the last game of today, which is Crazio versus TSCMU Protoss. And I don't know if I did well by making this the last game, but I felt like it, and it's just going to be up to TSCMU to play a crazy build with a lot of harass and silly units, or to play up a straight up game. I don't know what it's going to do. Crazio, of course, will be playing to its heart's content. Crazio, the number 1 bot at the moment, is a hell of an opponent to face. And TSCMU going for a quick natural. Crazio defending with the standard bunker, worker transfer. It's 2 versus 2 base. And now the question will be, what are we going to see out of both players? Crazio going for a very eco-heavy build with only 1 factory and very safe with the turret. And TSCMU going for a handful of gateway units, going to scout the map. Oh god, here we go. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Couple of goons, couple of zealots, Crazio sitting in his base, and what's TSCMU doing? It's going to build carriers. And I don't know if this is a new thing, but every Protoss seems to be going carriers these days, and TSCMU might as well take a third, because you're going to need a lot of minerals for your interceptors. 2 carriers out, another... Oh god, every Protoss and its grandmother is doing a carrier build these days. We saw it earlier at by Purple Wave, and I must say that I've got a little bit more confidence in TSCMU's carrier capabilities, but I must say too that versus Crazio I really doubt it, and Crazio has pressed G for Goliath already. This one carrier isn't getting anything done, but at least it's moving out of harm's way, and that's more than could be said for Purple Wave's carriers. The third base being taken by TSCMU, this one vulture Crazio's got out on the map is being chased, and Crazio defending its third base pretty well against the incursion of 2 zealots. The question is, what is going to happen? Will the carrier number get out of control? Because I wouldn't put it beyond TSCMU to have some kind of Corsair disruption web thing going on as well. Oh dear, here comes one carrier chasing the vulture. and 3 more carriers here. Crazio, of course, is going to defend, and TSMU Zealots don't really dare commit at this point. The carrier is making scouting flights over the enemy base, doing a little bit of damage to a depot, but other than that, not really much going on. Taking a 4th, so I like that. If you are going to play carriers, you're going to need a lot of money, and perhaps disruption web. And TSMU has figured out that it's going to go carriers and raking in the money from 4 bases. Crazio on 3 with the defender's advantage and the tremendous firepower of these Goliaths. I think for the near future it's going to be okay. Question is, what happens if TSMU gets 20 carriers up and is harassing with them all across the map? What will you do then? And now we see the vultures being contained by carriers, which is a pretty sight. 2 carriers taking a position here, 1 carrier here, and TSMU is basically doing to the map what Crazio is doing with vultures, containing, harassing, and who would have ever thought that carrier could be a harassing unit. Now, are we going to see more? I think it's just going to be carrier upon carrier. TSMU is getting really high on supply. It's got 77, 83 army supply, and that's an increment of 6, so only carriers. This Goliath is absolutely berserk. Crazio with a lot of Goliath. The Goliath train is astounding. If it ever gets on the move, there is no stopping it with these carriers. TSMU doing some kind of concave with carriers. I don't know if that is going to work, and gateway units as well. Might take a 5th, I don't know. Trying to do this with 2 carriers is not going to work, I can tell you that. And taking the occasional shot at the buildings of Crazio. It's just a huge concave with carriers. Now 93 supply. Let me have a peek. It's 11 carriers versus 40 Goliaths. That is a lot. And of course the Zealots are basically use this. Oh, this is good though. Harassment party of 2 carriers going to town on these turrets. Might take down the 4th of Crazio. 1 carrier here, and Crazio, undeterred, is going to push for the throat, for the jugular, going into the main by route of the natural TSMU. And although it's losing a base here, there is a probe there as well. This carrier is doing pretty well against the turret, but it's got not enough interceptors and repair is good. So the death train of Crazio is there. Crazio is maxed as well. TSMU is maxed-ish too, but hasn't got the income and can't really stop these Goliaths from doing serious damage. The carriers here, though, in the rear, I'd be rather hesitant as this expeditionary force, because there are carriers here, there, and this, oh, this is beautiful. These Goliaths are being engaged from all sides, and Crazio's supply is dropping. TSMU is rising. TSMU, the natural fell, but it was sort of mined out anyway, and Crazio is in a death cauldron. It's losing a lot of supply, and not a single unit came back. And if TSMU has mercy on these buildings, it's only because he's going for a direct counterattack into Crazio territory, and the map is sort of split. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5 bases each, and the supply difference is in huge favor of TSMU. Now TSMU will have to do damage. There is a ghost out, maybe we see lockdown, perhaps we will, and there are gateway units too, and Crazio is now under attack. It's got a lot of production, but there is a band of carriers here, a band of carriers, a band of 1 carriers there, and Crazio is being pushed back from all sides, and the units are in the middle of the map. But TSMU is playing harassment style with carriers, and I must say that it was a pretty good decision by my humble self to pick this game as the last, because TSMU used to be all about ridiculous things, and although he has been spending lots of time on this OpenBW project, where this replay viewer is only a small part of. But once he gets back into brute war coding, his code is absolutely, have been told, uninterpretable by anything else than the brute war API. No one can make heads or tails of it. But it's so unorthodox and so interesting. Crazio is getting mobbed up, and the only thing lacking here, I feel, is a nice fleet of Corsairs with disruption web, which would, like the spider minefield of Icebot, blanket the map symmetrically in disruption web, so no Goliath could ever fire a single missile again. Now TSMU turning on the pressure with the goons, with the carriers. There's carriers in the main base as well, and of course everything has been cleaned up. The Goliaths do what they can, but the base, the sky is clouded by interceptors and there is pew pew going on everywhere. It's insane. TSMU's losing carriers left and right, but the production is such that it can easily replenish anything it's got relatively easily. 1, 2, 3, 4 Stargates, 1, 5 gateways. That's not that much actually, but by now Crazio's mined out and it's just a rearguard action. So I'll leave this on for a screensaver while I'll say thank you again for watching this week. I hope you enjoyed the games. If you'd like to send me a replay, you can find my contact information on the website. You can find them in the lower right. There's a contact page, and you can send me replays or links to replays or anything that's interesting, and I'll try to incorporate it into the weekly cast. For now, I think we have seen a small shift in the force, because it used to be Iron until a couple of weeks ago. Then Eric Hammer took out Iron and Crazio was the top dog, but as we can see, even Crazio can bleed. And if TSMU is coming back to development of his own bots, there is no saying in who is going to be on top, because right now there are 15 bots who can pretend to take the top slot at any tournament. So very interesting times. This was this week's broadcast of the Student StarCraft AI tournament. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again next week, and goodbye.